When 19-year-old apprentice bricklayer Jay Slater vanished in Tenerife, the search that followed was one of the most agonizing and haunting sagas to grip both the island and his home country. For 4 weeks, family, friends, locals, and search teams combed the mountainous terrain where he was last believed to have walked. Helicopters whirred overhead, drones scanned rocky ravines, and dogs tracked the dusty trails in the baking summer heat. Yet when Jay's body was finally discovered at the bottom of a steep ravine, a place locals grimly describe as a death trap, a chilling thought emerged. It is, experts say, entirely possible that Jay's loved ones walked within yards of him during their desperate search. A disappearance that stunned. Jay had traveled to Tenerife with friends for a summer holiday, a trip meant for laughter, music, and sun. But on June 17th, after attending the NRG Music Festival, he ended up at a remote Airbnb in the rugged mountains near Masca with new acquaintances he had met the night before. In the early hours, he set off alone, attempting to make his way back to the tourist hub of Los Cristianos. Without water, proper footwear, or phone charge, Jay soon found himself stranded in one of the island's most inhospitable landscapes. His last phone call to a friend described being lost, thirsty, and exhausted. Then silence. The terrain of torment. The Teno Mountains are as breathtaking as they are brutal. Deep ravines slice through jagged rock, cliffs plunge hundreds of feet, and narrow goat paths weave perilously close to drops. In midsummer, heat radiates from every stone, with temperatures soaring into the high 30s. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. For Jay's family, who flew in from Lancashire within hours of hearing he was missing, the setting itself became an adversary. His mother, Debbie Duncan, alongside relatives and friends, spent day after day under the searing sun, calling his name into the void. They clung to hope even as the silence grew louder. Search teams scoured marked trails, helicopters swept valleys, and volunteers beat through scrub. Yet, the vastness of the terrain mocked their efforts. Each ravine, each shadow, each outcrop seemed to hide secrets. So close, yet so far. The revelation that Jay's body lay in a ravine less than a kilometer from where his phone last pinged was a gut punch. Some experts believe the teenager may have attempted to descend the ravine to find a quicker route down, only to fall fatally. It's this proximity that makes the discovery all the more heart-wrenching. His family, trudging mile after mile, might have unknowingly passed within yards of him. At times, they were even seen searching with binoculars, scanning gullies that now, horrifically, we know concealed him. Search veteran Manuel Lopez, who has spent decades rescuing hikers in Tenerife, explained. It is entirely possible they were close, sometimes only 20 or 30 yards away. But in these mountains, the difference between seeing and not seeing is a single ridge, a cluster of rocks, or a shift in light. The cruel reality of mountain searches is that visibility is deceptive. A body lying just beyond a boulder or shaded beneath a ledge can remain unseen for weeks, even as desperate eyes sweep over the same spot again and again. The family's agonizing vigil. Every day, Debbie Duncan and her family gathered in Masca, clinging to updates from police and volunteers. They searched alongside locals, holding on to rumors of sightings, analyzing snippets of CCTV, even chasing tips from strangers on social media. The toll was immense. Photographs showed Debbie with sunburnt skin, weary eyes, and a face etched with both hope and dread. She refused to give up, saying, "I can't go home without my boy. I'll search every rock and tree if I have to." For 4 agonizing weeks, she did. And yet, the mountain kept its secret. A cruel discovery. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. When Jay's remains were finally found by a specialist mountain rescue team, the shock rippled instantly. The location, perilously steep, accessible only with ropes and climbing gear, was both tragically close to where he was last known to be and devastatingly hidden. Friends who had searched with the family expressed disbelief. One said, "We walked right past that valley so many times. We shouted his name. We looked down to know he was there, and we couldn't reach him. It's unbearable." For the family, the news was a mixture of devastation and cruel closure. They had prayed for a miracle, but instead were handed the weight of finality. Why was he so hard to find? Critics of the search effort have asked why Jay wasn't located sooner, given his body was relatively close to his last phone signal. But rescue specialists have been quick to point out the near-impossible nature of such terrain. Scale of search area. The Tenno Mountains stretch across thousands of acres. Narrow ravines and sheer drops multiply the search area dramatically. Visibility challenges. From above, ravines can look deceptively shallow. Thick scrub and rocks conceal much from sight. Safety limits. Family and volunteers could only search marked trails. Attempting to descend ravines without ropes would have risked more lives. Heat and fatigue. Each day, searchers faced punishing conditions, with dehydration and exhaustion setting in quickly. In other words, finding a single missing person in such conditions is akin to seeking a needle in a haystack, only the haystack is jagged, vertical, and lethally hot. The haunting what-ifs. Yet, for Jay's loved ones, facts don't silence the what-ifs. What if they had searched that ravine more closely? What if drones had picked up a clue earlier? What if his final phone call had pinpointed his location more precisely? These questions will haunt his family, perhaps forever. The cruel knowledge that they may have walked within yards of him without knowing is a wound almost as deep as the loss itself. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Lessons from Tragedy. Jay's story echoes other heartbreaking cases where missing hikers or travelers were found close to where they were last seen, hidden by the cruelty of nature. It is a stark reminder of the risks of underestimating wild terrain, even in tourist-friendly destinations. Rescue experts stress: always carry water, maps, and charged phones. Avoid hiking unfamiliar routes alone. Tell someone your exact plan. For young holidaymakers swept up in the joy of adventure, such advice can feel unnecessary until tragedy strikes. A community united in grief. Back in Lancashire, vigils were held in Jay's memory. Floral tributes piled high, candles flickered, and messages of love poured in. Friends remembered him as cheeky, full of life, and fiercely loyal. In Tenerife, locals too mourned. Many had joined the search, some risking their safety to scale cliffs and scour gullies. For them, the discovery was not just an ending, but a communal grief. The lasting image. Perhaps the most haunting image of all is not of the ravine itself, but of Jay's family, walking the dusty paths, eyes burning with hope, calling into the silence. They searched with love as their compass, unaware that the son, brother, and friend they longed for was lying heartbreakingly close. It is this cruel closeness, the possibility that they passed within mere yards of him, that deepens the tragedy. The mountains, in their beauty and brutality, held him in their grip until the very end. Conclusion. Jay Slater's story is one of youthful adventure turned devastating tragedy, of a family's unimaginable pain, and of the merciless indifference of nature. His loved ones gave everything in their search, walking paths that took them agonizingly close to him, yet never close enough. The knowledge that they may have been just yards away is a sorrow that words can barely hold. And yet, amid the grief, Jay's story also serves as a reminder of the preciousness of life, of the dangers we often overlook, and of the unbreakable bond of family love that drives us to keep searching, no matter the odds. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.